liberty in the fires of hope and prayer. With boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. Nat Radio.
Move it, shake your back, man. Move it, yeah. Come let me move it, move it, move it, move it, yeah. Because old age don't catch up with you, so come on, let me take a little jam while we young. Old age don't catch up with you, so come on, let me take a little jam while we young. That lady who in the corner posing, come out today, girl. I see a man come today, a little wine boy you're posing. What the shit? We have no time to waste, we ain't getting any younger. So come girl, rock your waist, start to roll that bumper. I'll let we live a little. Life is not promised to no one. I'll let we live a little. Let me get on back in this session. Now what you do? Push back on it, baby, push back little harder. I'll let we live a little. Throw back on it, surely you not getting younger. Oh, so why you have time? How will you start mine? To grind. A woman in front and a man behind. Because old age don't catch up with you, so come on, let me take a little jam while we young. Old age don't catch up with you, so come on, let me take a little jam while we young. Why every time it's carnival, you was stay in your slumber. Girl, you better lighten up and come roll that thunder. We have no time to waste, we ain't getting any younger. So come out and shake a leg before old age meet you. I'll let we live a little. Take a little break from Instagram. I'll let we live a little. Let me get on back in this session. Now what you do? Push back on it, baby, push back little harder. I'll let we live a little. Throw back on it, surely you not getting younger. Oh, so why you have time? How will you start wine? Then you grind. A woman in front of the man behind. Because
wake up, rise up. It's the Nat Radio Breakfast Show.
bringing you the energy, music and vibes to start your day right.
Catch up with you, so come on, let me take a little jam while we young. Old age, catch up with you, so come on, let me take a little jam.
So everybody get up, rise up, wake up. Good morning, everybody, wherever you may be, Trinidad and Tobago, up and down the Eastern Caribbean, any other part of the world. Good morning to you, and of course, good to have you here. And if you're wondering where here is, if you're wondering where here is, it is New Era TT Radio, the heartbeat of the Caribbean, taking you above and beyond. We're looking Wednesday morning, it is on the outside. So much thanks to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another day, and everything that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing unto you. Sir Charles, that's me. Happy am I to be here with you as we welcome you, everybody, to the Get Up and Go. This is your breakfast show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your double or your morning drink.
Oh my goodness, what is that?
Rhythm.
Well, that's the rhythm of Sir Charles, I guess.
Yes. I'll get a bottle and a spoon just now. Don't worry.
All right, so good morning, and welcome to the breakfast show on this Wednesday morning, midweek already, believe it or not. And of course, I just want to say a good morning to all of our listeners and viewers wherever you are across Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean, and of course across the planet, wherever you are linking up with us. Welcome to the breakfast show on this Wednesday morning. And of course, it's a beautiful Wednesday morning. I think it's supposed to be a sunny day today. I think so. So hopefully, and I think there's still Sahara dust in the air. I maintain I cannot remember as a child growing up that Sahara dust was such a big issue in Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe it was just not articulated as much, but certainly it's monitored now, and certainly it's a part of our weather forecasting. But yep, it's Wednesday morning, rise and shine. We're here to put a smile on your face and keep you company if you're getting ready for your commute to go to work. If you're already in that commute, we are here to keep you company. Good morning, Wendell. Good morning, Sir Charles. Formally.
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. I just heard just a loud shower of rain just came down there. I mean, the morning looks clear, but there was just this loud shower of rain just now. You know, I don't know if it's affecting you up that end of Arima.
No, it isn't.
You know, I'm down in the boondocks, of course. You know,
Yeah,
you up in the upper echelons of Arima, so.
Added some blessings to soak out some demons in your area.
Well, there are lots of demons in this area, trust me. But we're here. We're happy to be in the land of the living, of course. Sorry?
I say, don't miss a beat. You acknowledge immediately there are demons in this.
Oh yes. Oh yes. You know. But yeah, we here. Happy birthday to whose birthday it is? I saw someone's birthday is today, and I thought I should remember. Today's June 4th, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. And of course, we are interviewing our special guest today is the first visually impaired independent senator, Senator Alicia Lalite. She will be our guest in the next hour. So look out for that. So
Yeah,
Charles,
that'll be an
thanks for
interesting
those-
conversation. Yeah, you know.
It will be, because we don't know her, so we've never heard of her before. So we'll get into who she is and the kind of contribution she's expected to make on the Senate bench. You know, because there are 9 independent senators, 2 of whom were returned from the last parliament. So there are 7 new independent senators, a lot of whom we don't know. You know, so we will try to bring them to you, you know, over the course of the breakfast show. And I got my camera wrong again. You know why? Because I have to take it off every time I close down my laptop. So I never get the positioning of it correct after that when I put it back up, you know. But I put out a post on Facebook yesterday that I also put as my status that I'm going to repeat this morning. I don't know if I know Richard will be happy to say I must be getting old and grumpy, but I must be getting really turned
And
off.
you dragged my name into old and grumpy people yesterday in your post. Me and Peter C. Lewis minding our business. The man dragged 2 of our names, you know, Sir Charles, in his grumpy old men.
Because Peter likes to come on my statuses and provoke me. Lord, that boy miserable, you know. He's very miserable. Peter C. Lewis. Anyway, so I don't know if I'm getting so fed up of politics and politicians that I just can't listen to some politicians anymore, you know. I don't want to hear them, you know. So just like how when the government changed in 2015, because I knew what happened and the whole world saw what happened between 2010 and 2015. There are certain people when they became opposition members and the PNM became the government. I didn't want to hear, you know. Like I said, because y'all messed up this place so much, I don't want to hear you. Likewise, after 10 years of a PNM government, there are certain people who were ministers. I don't want to hear, you know.
Can you identify who you're talking about, please?
Huh?
Can you identify who you're talking about, please?
You don't want to hear them. I'm not going to give them prominence because you had a chance to fix it. You were in
I think Zena wants to know, you know, when then.
Who?
I think Zena wants to know.
Zena damn well know who it is too. No, it's not just one, it's a few of them. I don't want to hear, Richard. So when you call a press conference, right? I mean, I have to listen to the opposition leader, who is now the de facto political leader. She will have her say, you know what I mean? Just like Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar would have had her say in the last 10 years. But there are certain others I don't want to hear. You had a chance to fix it and you didn't. So I ranted on, I put on that, well, it's not a rant. I honestly feel this way. You understand? I honestly feel this way and I'll leave it right there. Get new people to come and talk to me. Get fresh voices to come and talk to me. You understand? You are a government minister for 10 years and in senior positions and you didn't fix it. Don't come and tell me how to fix it now. So I will leave it right here.
I wonder who you're talking about, boy. But you know.
Well, the chat is a buzz with names.
I wouldn't dig any deeper because it's time for our good news. So, you know, we always do our good news at this point on the breakfast show. So let's get into our good news for this morning. Of course, our good news is courtesy to Trinidad and Tobago Television Online. And I'll just get into it.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has been named the 2025 People's Choice winner at the Caribbean Global Awards, topping a field of 58 regional leaders in a public vote. Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar secured 3,850 votes, the highest overall, surpassing high-profile nominees including St. Vincent's Ralph Gonsalves, Barbados' Mia Motley, Guyana's Dr. Irfan Ali, and Jamaica's Andrew Holness. The voting process was entirely public and the results were audited and validated by a 15-member panel of independent judges and observers from across the region and beyond. The Caribbean Global Awards ceremony is set to take place in London on September 27th.
So of course, that's our good news. The Prime Minister winning that award. So I don't need any competition that we win in the Caribbean. And, I'm always competitive when.
But I don't even know what that award is about.
So, they just explained it. So, congratulations to the Prime Minister on winning that award, which he will receive, of course, later on in London this year. So that's great news and good news. And beating such a stellar group too. Mia Motley, I'm sure, has won it several times. So that's our good news for this morning. That should put a smile on your face.
I was
going to see Trinidad and Tobago television. Let me attribute the source, Trinidad and Tobago television.
Yeah. Let me I'm seeing a message here from Felix Kazoo, who said since 2019, the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association have been advocating for someone who is blind to be appointed as an independent senator. So they've been lobbying for someone, and they've gotten someone. So congratulations, he said to Alicia. So, but we will be speaking with Senator Alicia Lalite in the next hour. So look out for that. We doing all manner of people. I met someone recently who I also am going to get his details. He's a success story. He left Trinidad and Tobago some years ago, struggling, and he made it out in Toronto as a self-made businessman. And I had a very interesting conversation with him. I said, well, you would make a good guest, because he was so passionate about what he does. I wouldn't tell you what he does in Toronto at the moment, but he has made a huge success out of it. And it's something you wouldn't think that he would make someone be able to make a successful career out of, So I'm going to get his details and so on, and try to link up an interview with him. He lives in Toronto now, as I said. It'll be interesting. What else is there in the news today?
Oh, there's lots in the news. Lots going on. Apparently, that investigation into the Forex. Well, I don't need to listen to the program, because remember we suggested yesterday that the finance ministry is the incorrect place. We felt that it should go to the Financial Investigations Bureau. So it has been referred to them by the finance ministry, because which is what we said. If there is an issue to investigate, there is a body to investigate that. Why is the Ministry of Finance getting involved in that? Let the respective agency investigate that. So that's actually it's on the front page of basically all of the newspapers this morning, except for one. So two of the three look at the issue of the Forex payment of $950,000 US after the finance minister raised concerns. So the cops are probing and that agency, I think, is getting involved into it.
Like how they were probing what was the scheme somebody had running, remember that time? With a whole lot of cash. And they seized his cash. I think they were ordered to return it. I'm not sure.
As far as I know, yeah.
Help me now. The pyramid. What? Not pyramid. It wasn't a pyramid scheme.
Drug Susu.
Drug Susu. Not DSS. Drug Susu. Thanks, Sir Charles. You reminded me. You remember, where did that probe ever go?
Probably coming up in the next 15 years.
I think there were several aspects of it that went to court,
I remember because the
the person who they had under scrutiny, I can't remember his name right now. He was very litigious. He took matters to court. He didn't just accept.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was I don't know if he still is a soldier. Maybe he is. I'm not sure. But he was. He didn't just accept. He took matters to court. So I think one of those matters was, you're right, Wendell, to return cash and stuff like that. So
Yes.
I'm not so sure where that is at, or if it's even still ongoing or not. I don't even know. You haven't had an update on that, or if that case even still exists. It may not. You know, so
Yeah. That has just gone like a cold case.
yeah.
And that's why sometimes we have to critique the TTPS, you know, and their information, their corporate, you know what I mean? So they just don't update the public on some of these things, you know?
Yes, where are some of these cases? Where are some of these things? And nobody knows, you know.
Yeah. Drug Susu. What a name, eh? To call a scheme that had long lines of people, Richard, outside the place. You remember that, Sir Charles?
Yeah.
Let people
I think I better join it also.
They were paying 15,000 and getting back how much? 30-something thousand.
Well, people feel they're making money and they figure it's an investment, inverted commas, with quick returns, inverted commas. You're going to attract people.
Yeah, and I suspect this investigation into where this forex came from, if in fact forex was paid, because we don't know if the people actually collected cash, if they had cash and paid cash. We don't know that. Eh? We guessing. Not so.
But I don't know that they're saying it's a cash transaction.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm thinking that they're just looking at the issue of the availability of the foreign. I'm not so sure what they're investigating. Maybe when we go into the you want me to go into the article a little bit?
Yes, please. Give us a sense of what they're investigating and why.
I'm just choosing the first newspaper which is in front of me and looking at what they said. The TTPS launches probe into Cartel's US $950,000 payment. Acting Commissioner of Police Junior, I'm going to turn this way so I'm more facing the mic. Acting Commissioner of Police Junior Benjamin has confirmed that the Financial Investigations Branch is probing the source, method, and timing of the US $150,000 payment made to Vibes Cartel, a local promoter, to appear by a local promoter to appear at last Saturday's One Caribbean Music Festival. Benjamin was speaking at a vehicle handover ceremony yesterday at the Police Academy in St. James, where 67 Toyota RAV4 SUVs were officially commissioned for use by police service across the country.
What?
By the police service across the country. Benjamin said while the TTPS has not received any formal report on the matter, they're proceeding with their own investigation. The acting top cop assured, nevertheless, we continue to look at the matter, and based on that, I've already engaged the FIB to look into the matter. So we will look into it, and how many times are you going to use the good look? And we'll see what are the ramifications that come out of it. Following the disclosure that US $950,000 had been paid to Palmer to appear as the main act in the May 31st reggae concert at Queen's Park, Savannah, Finance Minister Ravindranath Thakur said he was intrigued by the amount of foreign exchange that had reportedly changed hands. Palmer was supposed to have been paid a total of US $1.35 million to perform in the show, which also featured other foreign acts, including Malidon,
Sizzler Kalonji.
Sizzler Kalonji, and Molly. Is it Molly?
Molly.
Yeah, along with local artists Lady Lava and Ravi B. Jamaican reggae and dancehall artist Chronic Law, however, was said to be the lone foreign act that performed on the night.
All right. It sounds like something that's been done to pacify certain
Minister of Finance.
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Well done, Commissioner Benjamin. You're consistent with us all other commissioners.
Could your disdain and condescension be lessened, please?
No, it's consistent. Any other commissioner want to say the same thing? Let's do an investigation. We'll
Control the
have a
sarcasm and disdain in your tone.
Please. Me a break. But at least they got some 60-something new cars. RAV4s. Wow.
67. So actually, that part of the story, two of the dailies carry the Vibes Cartel thing, but the other daily didn't carry that as the lead. What they carried it was the 67 new SUVs for the TTPS and the top cop, Junior Benjamin, saying, expect faster response.
Yeah. Okay.
More vehicle to mash up.
Why are you so cynical?
Yeah.
Because
You're
we are
already older grumpy men, you know. I think we should change the name from the two older grumpy men and young dude.
But isn't there? Remember
They're like the two old Muppets up in the corner in the Muppet Show. You want Sir Charles?
in the balcony.
They're going to mash it up. Yeah.
Yep.
No, but seriously, the police, the police has caused this on their own self, Because I passed by St. James Police Station not yesterday, Monday, and I walked by there, and the amount of old cars on the pavement, including police cars.
When Richard is going into Port of Spain, he can stop right by Sealands in that area there and look in the graveyard and see a bunch of new SUVs and everything they are parked up there, Richard. And I just want.
Well, I don't sightsee. I keep my focus on the road.
And then you look around and you see a lot of them driving around with torn up fenders and all kind. Yeah, I guess it's a hard job, eh? It's a hard job.
It is. The TTPS just does not have a stellar record of taking care of vehicles. I'm sorry. I'm happy that they got this, and I would imagine this would have been cars that were negotiated prior to government changing, because they couldn't get these cars in a month. You understand?
Yes.
But happy for them. Make use of it. Faster responses.
There was a story just sometime last week before I was reading about a police officer who was carrying the state to court because of one of his colleagues that broke a red light and hit somebody's car, and he got a broken foot or something like that, and he's now suing the state. Bad colleague.
So Charles, look at what he put up on the screen. I have those privileges now. I'm going to fix you good and proper.
Yeah, you can respond to him.
Anyway, let us greet our people on the chat so far. They're busy this morning, boy. Ooh, look at them. All right, let me
scroll back up.
Mm-hmm. Let's say good morning first to Suzanne Jessup, who came in exactly at midnight. God's grace blessings from Suzanne, Suzette, and Mrs. Gemma. You want me to tap on it? I could tap on it too, All right. Melissa from Charflair says good morning. Margaret Thomas says good. Oops, Margaret, nearly delete your comment. Where did it go? Margaret Thomas says good morning. Anthony Tinto, grand rising to the breakfast crew and to all Lockdown Shalom. Boy Bidesi from Debe. What am I doing?
You want me to assist you, sir?
Yes, please, because I'm touching and
right, there you go.
My fingers are...
Boys, we are by Boy Bidesi.
Right, so I said Boy Bidesi. Doreen Pierre, good morning. That's from Gastonia, North Carolina. Okay. Marlon Motley from North Valsayn. Marlon,
good morning, Marlon.
Why are you not putting it again? Erica Charles didn't say where she's from. Folks, if you could put where you're from and how you're watching us, that'll be nice. Every morning. Good morning, gentlemen, from Brent Hackshaw. Carol Guevara says birthday blessings to her second born, Marcus Walcott. You have a Walcott in your family? My mother's maiden name is Walcott, Carol. She was Cynthia Walcott Stephen. Good. Slick Money Grip says good morning. Patricia Defoe, Cheryl Johnson, Odell Guy, Robert Taylor from Fernandina Beach. Anne Noel says good morning, Sir Charles. So Anne is
Morning, Anne. Morning.
one of the grumpy men this morning.
Good morning.
Hazel Will says blessed morning. Sherwin Kerr says he and his wife Juliet, they're from Arima and they're looking at it via YouTube. Ozzy Molino, Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine, Anne Noel. Okay, she says now, good morning, Richard, Sir Charles, and Wendell. Have a wonderful day from Oshawa, Ontario. Wendy Ann James, I suspect from Aranguez. Kathy Ann Charles, Wayne Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale, Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona, Scorpion Pepper, Lambert Bruce, Felix Kazo, he's in Maloney and watching Flow Channel 111. Joyce Phillip, top of the morning, everyone. Apollonius, Carl M. Jack, who was promised to come by Rumbox on Friday. I'll be looking out for you, God willing. DL says good morning. Rena Bunu Jennings from Pity Valley. Cheryl Silly, Mrs. R from, where's she from? Where's she from?
Trinity. Yes, good morning, Mrs. R.
Yeah. And DL and Mrs. R started to call names, and you're all right. Beauty culture. Beauty culture. Felix, I read that message already. Far Rockaway says congratulations, Madam PM. Julia Batiste, Magic, also says good morning. Diane Payne. David Wes said DSS. Yes, thanks, David. David Wes is down there in Oasis Garden. David, that's the name of the place? Oasis, I think, right?
Good morning, Julia. Magic.
Andrew Joseph.
And Payne.
Lincoln. Lincoln, where are you from? Ron DeSantis Jr. from Norfolk in Virginia. Carlisle Cupid. Lester Cradwell. Ambrose Barr from New York. Who else is new? All this is old chat. All these are. Miguel Gonzalez says good morning. Child of God says good morning. Wonderful Wednesday. Ian Phillips, that's a new name. Good morning, watching from Barbados. Good show. Thanks, Ian Phillips. And that's it. Those are all our greetings for the morning. And we know a lot of you all are listening otherwise and may not actually message us. So Charles may have some greetings too.
So I'm also trying to check something else here. So let me say good morning to Frank, also to Junior. Junior, thank you very much. I'm working on it. Something is on the website.
Morning, Andy.
Good morning to Mark, Mr. Beeps. Good to have you. Archbishop Ashton Clark, are you back home as yet? Also, good morning to Aisha. And Miss Dabity is locked on. The folks at G and C Otto out there in Cockreed. Good day to you. Colin out in Carenage on very early. Charmin in New York. Kent, morning blessings. Terry Ann Peters early inside also. And Cheryl Ann Pixie Taylor out there in New York. Good morning to all of you people.
All right. And morning to Annie Bunyan. And Carol says her first marriage was to a Walcott. All right.
Okay. Well, I suppose I should just get straight into the headlines so we can get into calls at this point, all right? So I'll start with the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, which was the one that I was reading from for that Vibes Cartel story. So the main headline on the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for this morning is Cartel probe widens. Acting top cop orders FIB to look into US $950,000 payment days after finance minister raised concerns. That's on the front page of the Guardian. Penny wants consultation on stand your ground laws. That's also on the front page. Morris calls for probe into $17 million Tobago ambulance contract. And the main picture is that of the inspection of the RAV4s. And you see the Minister of Homeland Security striding with his former colleague, Junior Benjamin, who is the current acting commissioner of police. On the back page, York picks uncapped duo Seeley and Frederick, Soca Warriors versus St. Kitts Nevis. So that's the the main headline, World Cup qualifiers 2026. I maintain we need to get Dwight York on to discuss.
I've gotten the link. I reached out to former coach Angus Eve yesterday, and he sent me a number. So I'm gonna follow up on that.
All right, great. Daily Express for today. Cops probe Cartel Forex. Financial Investigations Branch to investigate how US dollars secure to pay dancehall star. This is anyway. The main picture is $23 million for 67 new police vehicles. So it's kind of the Minister of Homeland Security posing with Junior Benjamin, the current acting commissioner of police. On the back page, frustrated customers complain of months-long wait paying over packages. I maintain, and I make no apologies, that the state should institute that if it's anything under 500 US or 600 US, that it should just clear automatically. You should not have to pay any duty. Just let it come in so those packages come in as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
You understand? Rather than have people wait 2 weeks. Or, it's counterproductive and inefficient. So those kinds of packages, because they're already scanned out of Miami. So you know what I'm saying? So just anything under 600 US or 700 US, whatever figure you use, just let them come in and clear and move on. Yeah. Rather than, anyway, that's frustrated customers complain over months-long wait, paying over packages. I'm not so sure what that story precisely is about. I'm just speaking tonight. Windy swept away. Outplayed again as England complete ODI series whitewash. Dawn of a new era. York calls up MLS's Celia and Frederick for upcoming TNT World Cup qualifiers. Moving on to the Newsday for today. Front page of the Newsday. Top cop on 67 new SUVs for TTPS. Expect faster response. Sizzler. TT, do you want me to perform? And the main picture is that of Junior Benjamin and the Minister of Homeland Security. And on the back page, York picks World Cup qualifier squad looks to the future. Give youths a chance. And England sweep Windies in ODI series. So that's it for our 3 dailies this morning. So now you know what's on the front and back pages of the 3 dailies in Trinidad and Tobago. We move on now to take your calls. Of course, you can call us at 281-1315, 281-1315. And while we're doing that, Wendell will send me the poll, 281-1315. And that's the number you can call to get interactive with us. There it is on the screen, just in case you're a little slow. 281-1315, 281-1315. And taking some of your calls this morning on The Breakfast Show, otherwise known as
The Breakfast Show. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, Sir Charles.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Wendell. So my beef this morning is this. That commercial police in time investigate things that we don't even hear conclusion to. We keep hearing investigation upon investigation upon investigation and no conclusion in these investigations. But what's tremendous is that, as I said at time, Sir Charles, he just telling you things. He's just saying things that he thinks people want to hear. I'm fed up with this investigation. So, okay, let me ask that question. Those car firms, you roll off, those were the showroom, those big name car firms. I ain't calling anybody. I ain't advertising for nobody. Where, you remember everybody complaining about the Forex. Where are they getting the US to bring in all those vehicles? Are they investigating those companies too? What about places where have stocks upon stocks line up on the port and in the businesses? Is he going to investigate where they get in the US from? I just find it that it's just some kind of thing, because it is a small fry promoter.
Drive down by movie town and see how much new cars on park up there.
I just
right next door. They have a big open lot next door. Go and watch the cars that they have there.
You bounce it to, you're investigating that, and we don't hear nothing after that. I will waste our time. Good morning.
Okay, thank you very much.
So promoters now who want to bring in foreign acts have to be cautious about the state and the police inquiring where getting the US to pay the performer. Even though you may have sponsors that may have US access and they're the ones that paying.
Follow the money.
I don't know. It seems a little strange and smacks of a kind of, I don't know. Let me hush my mouth and wait.
Follow the money, Richard. Follow the money. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Wendell, do you know what that symbol means behind you? I'm just curious. I want to point out.
Yeah.
Yes, he explained that already.
Pardon?
He did it.
I explained that the first day it showed up.
Yeah, on Monday.
Do you remember? I want to remind us some things. $2 million was found in some wood. A couple years ago, they were investigating and we never find anything about that. Right? They were doing an investigation of some guns that came into the country. We never got a finding about that. Several times guns came into the country in barrels. We never got a finding about that. Nobody was. One female was charged, I remember. One female was charged that went to pick up the barrels, and she and all said, I just come to pick up the barrel, I didn't know what was in it. Right? And I want to concur with the former caller. There's 1,050,000 cases that has been, the police has promised to investigate, that goes nowhere. We don't get feedback on it, we don't get any response on it. And that has been my complaint about the TTPS for years. I don't mind to say anti-police, but that is a serious concern.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks very much.
You said I just sent the meaning of the symbol until you teach me how to do these things. I just sent the meaning of the symbol in the chat. Should you put it up for the benefit of those who are wondering what it means?
All right. So while you do that, we're taking your calls, people. 2811315. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. Norfolk, Virginia. Front and center. Hey, previous caller, and good folks. With all due respect, man, listen, it's Trinidad, whether it's on the UNC, PNM, whatever, right? Nothing happens. I mean, look, a certain scandal in Trinidad, we have people in the US who died in jail, right? And yet, as I said, under whether it's the yellow or the red, there are fellas who still walk about Trinidad, right? And they can't be touched. So it just goes to show that every country have their 1%ers. Anyway, folks, have yourself a great day.
All right. Good morning, Miss Estelita Sampson. She says she's gotten her phone up and running. That's Miss San Fernando, Vistabella, I think. From Miss Sampson. And good morning to Hillbenj also, and Cheryl Henry and Cheryl M. Cheryl spelled two different ways here. Also, good morning to Donna Ramlo Chan and Ava Smith. All right, they all joined us within the last few minutes on the chat. Also, Nasa Mohammed from Rio Claro. All right.
Okay. Good morning. Caller.
Hi.
Carol.
Carol here. Carol here or Carol again? Carol, you have bad reception.
Carol, you change your position in very quick if you could, because your internet not
coming through properly.
Yeah. Any better?
Go ahead. Yeah, it's a little better there. Go ahead.
Yeah, listening to the news last night, I heard the Commissioner of Police speaking about the officer involved in the fracas outside the concert, that he was taken off duty or taken off the unit or whatever temporarily while the investigation is ongoing. What I want to know is what has happened to the officer who shot the handcuffed person and killed him. He, I believe, is still on duty while that investigation is ongoing. What's the difference? What is happening with the police officer who killed the 74-year-old man a couple of days ago? Is his firearm still in his possession? What's happening with it?
The man came to his door, knocked on the door, or whatever. Daddy in
Okay.
Yeah. So, Lincoln and anybody who wants to know about the symbol, it's up on the screen there now. It's an Adinkra symbol from West Africa, specifically the Akan people, right, of Ghana. All right. It means except for God. Okay.
Nicely. Caller, morning to you.
Yeah, morning, gentlemen. Now, to my mind, no country in the Caribbean could take a hit of $2 billion. That is a serious hit. And so, Charles, I want you to answer this for me. What is the status of the investigation of this $2 billion that your party campaigned on prior to the election? Is it a fact?
Hold up.
No, let me finish.
I wait for your answer.
All right.
You say your party, Sir Charles?
My party. Are we looking for sponsorship? Are we got ad for the campaign? Oh my gosh.
I like that blowing your chin, though.
Yeah. You try best, but that's all right. We good with that. I don't go dick.
Oh gosh. Mr. Cockroach, give her a laugh for a nice laugh there.
Yeah. Remember Mr. Cockroach, I was serious the banker, that he had to deal with for the next so much years.
I always like to listen to him, though. He's always been very articulate over the years. I like to listen to him.
I find it just strange that he just decided to jump on major shoulders on this morning. Ask your question.
No, but in a way, he's right. All of a sudden, you stop here and talk about this 3 billion or 2.2 billion that went missing, and that Impaired can't come for, and that there's a whole lot of hogwash went on in that campaign the other day, My goodness. All of a sudden, now you stop hearing about that.
Are we still taking your calls before we go to the morning poll? So it's 281-1315, 281-1315. We're still taking your calls.
Yeah. Good morning, Joyce.
Let me just bring up the number again. So 281-1315. There it is. 281-1315. We're taking your calls. This is your opportunity to be interactive with us. Wherever you are on planet Earth, you can WhatsApp call us at that number, or you can direct call us if you so feel to pay money to telephone providers. But you could WhatsApp call us at 281-1315.
Nicely. Caller on the inside. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning, Diego Martin.
I listened to Miss Dabadi during this week, earlier this week, saying the patrons behave so good at that Vice Cartel concert, but like she didn't see the video before she said that.
I think she was being sarcastic. I think at the point that she was...
What? Had to be, because the first person triggered the fracker was the woman who went up on the stage.
But that was after the concert, eh?
That was after the concert. So yeah, maybe she
after the concert.
It was after the concert ended, yes. And they were packing up. Yes.
So then
apparently it was $60,000 worth in damage, huh?
The guy who got beaten in the red outfit, that was after the concert also.
Yeah, that was after. Apparently he was...
So wait a minute. They paid to see 2 foreign acts. They didn't come. I was just jumping all over the stage and they kept quiet. Really? Nah. Well, boy, them foreign artists will keep coming here. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Anyway, let me move on from that. If they want to pay that money and accept that, that is the business. Then they go say they can't buy school books in July. That commissioner of police, he's serious. I mean, it has so much other important, serious cases to deal with. And that is where he talking about he going and investigate Forex. Oh God, ACP, Benjamin, please focus on things what police has done, and we have not seen or heard anything about it. Focus on that, not no forex. I think that you should focus on that at all. Waste of time. No, give me some.
All right, okay, no problem. Thank you very much. So, so we telling the police what to focus on and what not to focus on now.
Well, we're going to hold it. We're going to do a poll on it this morning.
So should we tell the police they're going to concentrate on Richard case? You see, Wendell, forget Wendell case. If it comes to your attention, you know. Hello, good morning, caller.
Wendell have enough case. Leave Wendell alone.
Yes. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to Charles. Morning, Wendell, and morning, Richard. Morning.
Morning, Mr.
Tobago.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
I was listening to the Honourable Prime Minister when she had she meeting, which she said that ministries across the board funding will be cut. And certain things they will cut back on this and cut back on that. But we see they going on the back of a new Parado police vehicle, Wendell, to run down bandits.
67 new SUVs.
To run down bandits, right?
Well, so respond to
enhance this national security infrastructure. It's not a rundown bandit. You want me to change that number to 3 hours?
But you say swift. So how do we moving swift to do something? No. If you go around Trinidad and Tobago and see the amount of vehicles government have parked up in the yard, Vim cut all these places. So Trinidad don't have no mechanic, Trinidad have no parts to fix vehicles. And when that?
Mr. Patrick, why do you call this program to ask a set of questions?
When I'll have no answer for you, Mr. Patrick.
You can't answer that.
All these vehicles park up. Sometimes all the vehicles missing is going to be a transmission, or it's going to be missing something. And
Mr. Patrick,
maybe the new SUV, maybe Mr. Patrick, maybe the new SUVs are coming in with enhanced technology that will further augment the national security infrastructure.
And then you have some options, some phones will buy 10 cars.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Patrick,
maybe cars have no need to change shocks. They have no need to change cradle arms. They have no need to change tires. They have no need to change batteries. Maybe these vehicles are like that. So they will last forever. I can't get more sarcastic than that.
Yeah, well, maybe just now if there are no vehicles, the police might have to walk and come and respond to
They wanted to put them on bicycles.
Kola, good morning to you.
Hey, I know folk Virginia here again. Morning again, guys. Hey, I just want to support Ms. Zina's sentiments about the behavior of the crowd. And I want to support the comments of the former government minister, where he said, raise gas once, I raise it twice, I raise it 3 times, and they ain't riot yet. So that just goes to show you the general attitude
tolerance
of the average Trinidadians thinking. Oh, Richard, by the way, remember the other day I was talking to you about the temporary, and again I say the temporary, the stoppage of the student visas and so on. I spoke to my congressional representative out here, and look, Trinidad and Tobago is fine, okay? You put it down that it is just 1 or 2 individuals, and it was ridiculous, but it didn't catch the other day where they caught an individual just the last 24 hours from a certain country bringing in biochemical components used in, guess what? In destroying crops. Okay? So if you open up your borders and you don't vet people, and this is for Trinidad too, and you don't vet people, okay? You tell me if thousands, hundreds of thousands come into your country, you will just have 1 or 2. I know you're a thespian, but still, math may not have been your forte. The chances of something happening to Western interests is very, very high. Anyway, have a great day, gentlemen.
Okay. First, it wasn't Zina, Norfolk. It wasn't Zina who made the comment. I just want to also say good morning because we're going into a poll time now, right, Richard? I want to say good morning to someone whom I met also recently. His name is Shane Abdul. He's a pilot with Caribbean Airlines. Very, very young pilot, but very, very talented and professional and decent young man. Good morning to pilot Shane Abdul from Caribbean Airlines.
Is he younger than me?
Everybody younger than you.
So the morning poll for this morning. Do you agree with the probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? That's our poll this morning. You're seeing it up on your screen if you're watching us. Of course, if you're listening to us, I'm reading it out for you. Morning poll, do you agree with the probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? That's our poll this morning. I should say police probe. Should I say police probe?
Yeah, police probe, because it's a police probe. I'm reading it and I'm thinking that TTPS should be inside of there. So you could put police probe, right?
All right, so we're just adding police to the mix. So do you agree with the police probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? That's our poll this morning. The polling, voting has begun. You may put your votes in the comment section on YouTube and Facebook. We'll get it instantaneously. And of course, you can also WhatsApp your vote to 2811315. And you can also call in your vote at 2811315. So do you agree with the police probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? That's our poll on this Wednesday morning. On the breakfast show, also known as
the breakfast show.
You're having fun today. All right. Are you ready for your votes?
Yes, I am.
All right. So Andrew Joseph says no. Valerie Mendoza, no. Susan Jessup, no. Donna Ramlochan didn't vote. Child of God, the person clearly you really have a condition, but you changing up your name every week on the show. Yes. Annie Bunyan says no. Ilarizan, no. Miguel Gonzalez, yes. Michael Robinson, yes. Margaret Thomas, no. Marlon Motley, no. Cheryl Seeley, yes. Robert Taylor, yes. Donna Ramlochan, you have to vote. You can't say wasting time. I don't know if that means no. Terrence Roach, yes. Camillus, no. Far Rockaway, yes. Brennan Smith, no. Slick Money Grip, yes. Joyce Phillip, no. Those are our votes thus far.
So 2811315, you can also call in your vote. I've Sir Charles, I don't know if you have any votes on WhatsApp.
Yeah, we have a couple of them. Captain Ron says yes. And we have Fia Lashley saying yes. Pauline says yes. Sean Ram says yes. And Anand says yes.
All right. We have two more.
Keep it coming.
We have some more votes here on the online. Lester Cragwell, no. Lincoln, yes. Ann Noel, no.
So our poll this morning, do you agree with the police probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? That's our poll this morning. Of course, it's with the FIB, the Financial Investigations Bureau, I think is what they call it. Strange you would call it FIB. But then...
You no longer hear that word FIB?
You're
fibbing.
You're fibbing. So FIB is investigating it. And so what do you think? Do you agree with the police probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? That's our poll this morning.
All right. We have Ann Noel, no. DL, no. Julia Batiste, yes. Ian Robley, no. Anthony Atwell, no. Ingrid, yes. Donna Ramlochan, no. Curtis Patrick, yes. Cheryl Henry, no. This should be a close poll. Ava Smith also says no. All right. So keep voting, people. We have 30 seconds again. And of course, you have all the 10 minutes of the newscast, right?
Yeah. So Charles, do you have any additional votes that I can...
Actually, no, I don't have any additional votes. But as Wendell says, only keep on voting. so that when we come back after the news, because we'll close off the poll at that point in time. We have some people like to vote after we close off the poll.
Yes, they like to vote and they like to talk. They like to chat. That's all right. We encourage the chat as long as it's respectful. Carol Guevara and Beauty Culture also says no, so we'll end there. I'll take it from Miss Sampson when I come back after the news. Right?
All right. So it's 7 o'clock on the dot. It's time for our news.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. Opposition leader Penelope Beckles is calling for greater transparency and public consultation on the government's proposed Stand Your Ground legislation. Speaking at a media conference yesterday, Beckles raised concerns about the lack of clarity surrounding the policy, questioning whether the government intends to model it after controversial laws like those in Florida. She warned that without a full understanding of how the law would apply, particularly in public spaces, the policy could do more harm than good in Trinidad and Tobago's unique crime landscape. You can develop a whole culture where people believe you're in the wild, wild west, so everybody should have a gun, she said. Beckles emphasized that the opposition is willing to support good legislation, but insists that consultation is absolutely critical before moving forward. Shell Trinidad and Tobago Limited has announced a final investment decision to begin development of the Aphrodite gas field in the East Coast Marine area, with production expected to start in 2027. The project is set to strengthen Shell's gas operations in one of Trinidad and Tobago's most prolific gas-producing zones, home to major fields like dolphin and starfish. According to Shell, the new field will help backfill gas to the Atlantic LNG plant in Point Fortin, supporting both domestic energy needs and export markets. Peak production is expected to reach 107 million cubic feet of gas per day, equivalent to about 18,400 barrels of oil per day. Country Chair Adam Lomas said the project highlights Shell's commitment to Trinidad and Tobago's energy future. The announcement comes just days after BPTT reported first gas from its Mento project, signaling renewed momentum in the country's upstream energy sector. All three of the Water and Sewerage Authority's reservoirs in Trinidad have crossed their expected long-term average. In an update yesterday, WASA noted the steady increase in Trinidad's reservoirs, together with a decrease in Tobago's Hillsborough Reservoir. The Navette Reservoir currently stands at 65.95% capacity, up from 62.22% on May 27th, well above its long-term average of 46.54%. The Arena Reservoir stands at 60.50% capacity, above its LTA of 54%, while the Hollis Reservoir is at 54.99%, exceeding its LTA of 43.85%. However, Tobago's Hillsborough Reservoir has dipped slightly to 58.5% from last week's 64%. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has been named the winner of the Caribbean Global Awards People's Choice 2025. The announcement came via a Facebook post yesterday from the London-based Caribbean Global Institutes, which hosts the annual awards recognizing outstanding Caribbean leaders and innovators. Managing Director Michaeline Gale Holder-March confirmed that Persad-Bissessar topped a field of 58 nominees, receiving 3,850 votes from around the world. The integrity of the vote was overseen by a 15-member independent panel of judges and observers. Rounding out the top five were Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent, Mia Motley of Barbados, Andrew Holness of Jamaica, and Irfan Ali of Guyana. The official award ceremony is set for September 27th at the Cumberland Hotel in London. In international news, there is growing international outcry following a deadly incident near an aid distribution point in Gaza on Tuesday morning, where dozens of civilians were reportedly killed or wounded. According to Gaza health officials, 24 people were killed and at least 37 wounded after Israeli forces allegedly opened fire on civilians gathered for aid in western Rafah. Eyewitnesses say gunfire came from helicopters, tanks, and sniper positions, targeting people who had gathered overnight to secure aid from a newly established distribution site backed by the US and Israel. However, the Israel Defense Forces denied firing on the crowd, saying warning shots were aimed half a kilometer away from the aid site at individuals who posed a perceived threat. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has taken over aid distribution from the UN, also denied responsibility, claiming its site operated safely and without incident. The UN is now calling for an independent investigation into the killings. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Got better? Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with several boot camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17 come enjoy Children Iron Chef Competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first aid, and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
The best you have had in a while, and we are so happy to be bringing it to you here on New Era TT Radio. Wherever you are, we're so happy that you're joining us. And of course, if you're joining us, this is our number 2. And let's see what the weather is looking like for today.
Good morning again, Trinidad and Tobago. This is your weather update for Wednesday, the 4th of June, 2025, from New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. Today we're looking at mainly sunny, hazy and breezy conditions with the chance of brisk, showery interruptions throughout the day. We have some encouraging news about air quality today. The concentration of Saharan dust in the atmosphere is currently moderate to high. However, a reduction to mild is expected from this afternoon. Persons who are sensitive to these air quality changes should take the necessary precautions, but conditions should improve as the day progresses. Temperature-wise, Trinidad can expect a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius today, with a minimum of 24 degrees Celsius. In Tobago, the maximum will reach 31 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 26 degrees Celsius. With humidity factored in, the heat index will make it feel like 35 degrees Celsius in Trinidad and 34 degrees Celsius in Tobago, so please stay hydrated throughout this warm day. Sea conditions are moderate with wave heights of 1.5 to 2 meters in open waters and below 1 meter in sheltered areas. The sun rose this morning at 5:42 and will set at 6:26 this evening. For those planning maritime activities today, high tides in Port of Spain will occur at 11:09 this morning and 11:41 tonight, with low tides at 4:58 early this morning and 5:12 this afternoon. In Scarborough, high tides will be at 11:27 this morning and 11:45 tonight, with low tides at 5:20 early this morning and 5:29 this afternoon. This has been your weather update for today. Enjoy the mainly sunny conditions and look forward to the improving air quality this afternoon as the Saharan dust concentration reduces. From all of us at New Era TT Radio and M&E TV, have a wonderful Wednesday. Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Trico Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box. San Fernando, we're here. The wait is over. The indisputable #1 comedy of 2025, Married and Mischievous, is in San Fernando for one night only at Sapa, Sunday, June 8th at 6:30 p.m. One show only. Tickets available at K Squared Fashion, C3 Center in Brentwood Mall, Fens by the Roundabout in Marabella, and at the Sapa box office 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily from Monday, 2nd of June. Married and Mischievous, one night only at Sapa, Sunday, June 8th. Strictly adults only. Don't miss it. All right, so we're back into the second hour of the Breakfast Show. And of course, just remind you to get your tickets early for Married and Mischievous at Sapa, one night only. It is going to be a fantastic show this weekend. I know tickets are already zooming. I mean, the word of mouth of this play has been excellent. So I think people are now hearing how great this play is. So people are zooming and tickets are already going fast. So you should get your tickets early. Of course, the box office at Sapa opens from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. That's where you can get tickets for a show. You can also get tickets at K Squared Fashions at C3 Center and at Brentwood Mall in Chaguanas, those two branches, and at Fens of Marabella by the Roundabout. So if you're in Marabella and you go to Fens by the Roundabout, you know where I'm talking about. You can go inside there, you can get tickets there too. So as I say, get your tickets early. Trust me on this. Married and Mischievous, strictly adults only. One show only, San Fernando, this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. So much. I'm so looking forward to it. We have so much fun in this play. And I tell you, at some points, the audience is screaming so much. It is deafening. Deafening. All right. So, of course, we are in the second hour. Are we taking any additional votes at this point?
Yes, we have a few additional votes. Good morning. Welcome back to the second hour of the breakfast show. Estelita Sampson says yes. Michael Oliver says yes. Cheryl Henry, let the FIU do that. So I don't know if that's a yes or no. Magic says no. Apollina says no. That's the votes I have on during the news break.
What about you, Sir Charles?
Yeah, I just have 2 years. Yes, sir. Hold on. Right.
What?
Hold on.
Oh.
Yes, grumping.
Right. So Brent says yes, and Long Islander says no. That's it.
All right, so our poll this morning, do you agree with the police probe into the Forex transaction for the Vibes Cartel concert? We had 44 people voting in the allotted time for this poll, 44 of you voting. Of the 44, 24 of you said no, you do not agree with the police probe, and 20 of you said yes. You do
I thought
agree.
it was close.
So it was pretty evenly split. At some points, it was absolutely even, but the nays moved ahead by a oomph. So the nays have it this morning saying no, they don't agree with the police probe, but the yeses weren't far behind. So it's kind of like an even split on public opinion on this matter if our poll is a microcosm of national sentiment. So, but the nays have it this morning. So that's it for our poll for this Wednesday morning. Yeah, so of course, while we wait for our guests to come into studio, I'll be waiting for, of course, Independent Senator Alicia Lalite. She'll be joining us shortly. The first visually impaired member of parliament ever in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. She'll be joining us shortly for a conversation on the breakfast show.
Let me say good morning to Charmaine, CJ from New York. Charmaine messaged me. She says she's crack up, especially when she heard Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick has this weird style of calling in and posing questions to us. Questions sometimes we can answer, but a lot of times we can't, you know? But I guess it's his way of getting his point across sometimes, you know, and we appreciate him. We appreciate him so much, you know? We appreciate all of you, you know, sometimes even though you change up your name and you get weird sometimes, but we appreciate you all, you know? Sometimes I read some of these comments on this chat, yes, you know, because the battles actually take place when we interview our guests, right? You know, the conversation between guests sometimes, I mean, between chatters, our listeners, takes place whilst we interview our guests. So it's hard to watch it, you know. Sometimes there's some of them just want to get out there, you know, and I monitor them.
I don't monitor the chat at all.
I
know you are tasked with that responsibility.
Yeah, that's my responsibility. I have to. You know, we all have our jobs, people. I have to tell you all, this breakfast show, again, it's a new iteration, but it's three people who are familiar with one another, right? But Sir Charles would shoot a call to us for the last 2 months, every single morning. Every single morning, a call comes to us, and we engage one another into how we're going to proceed in the day, or just generally. I think Sir Charles like to hear me and Richard voice early in the morning. That's how I feel sometimes. You understand? So he calls us every single morning. And we really enjoy what we do. We really enjoy it, and we enjoy it because of you. Because I'm telling you, if I didn't have to read the news or follow what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago, I good enough. I would have been real good enough. And then Richard and he calls and he fusses about guests, and he fusses about this, and he fusses about that.
It's called
being professional. You don't know the life I live in now? Or you don't know the life I live in now, you know, people.
It's called being professional. Yeah. That may elude you, but that's what it's called.
It could be a real pest. Sometimes I just want to be outside with my fishes and my turtles, you know. But Richard calling. Oh, Lord. Your head.
So Charles, any word from Independent Senator?
Actually, I don't know if you guys were talking to me just now, but I was actually talking to the senator, herself.
Okay.
Sure, some people have problems trying to get into the studio, but sometimes how the links are.
Yeah.
But so I have her on the phone. So you probably have to do it here, right?
You're doing a phone interview instead.
Yeah, because she's getting some problems to get the link is not accepting. I don't know why.
Yeah, you
All right,
had
so
to set up that before, especially if
Yeah.
you don't have updated systems on your laptop or your phone. Yeah. All right.
So we have this Senator. Yes, Senator, are you hearing us? Okay. All right. All right. Let me try it again. Senator, are you hearing us? Okay.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning, Senator Lalit.
Good morning.
Hi. Thanks for joining the breakfast show.
You're most welcome. My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on the breakfast show this morning, Senator Lalit. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of your background, because I mean, we congratulate you on your appointment as a senator, and certainly as the first visually impaired senator in our parliament. We congratulate you on both achievements. But give us a sense of your background. Who is Alicia Lalite?
All right. First, I will correct you. I wish if I was still visually impaired. However, I have lost all light perception, so I'm in the category now as blind.
Oh,
all right.
All right. Appreciate
Yeah.
that correction.
Okay, and the long name Alicia Pauline Lalit Etienne. All right. I am a person, came from a humble background, had a condition from birth called retinitis pigmentosa, where all the parts are there, certain parts are functioning, and it's still under research. All the parts are developed in my eyes, but it's a mystery to some of them how some of it is not functioning well, and it leads to blindness over the years. And when you're in a high stressed environment, it goes faster. So my vision completely left me while I was studying abroad. Just finished.
Sorry. No, you go ahead.
Okay. My background is in adaptive devices as well as disability issues. I am currently on the tail end of finishing up my PhD in business with a concentration in human resource management. And what I did is that when I came back to Trinidad, I couldn't have gotten employment. Nowhere I looked, nowhere I go. I went to the recruiting agencies. They turned me out and I was stigmatized. Even though I had the qualifications, they will tell me, we don't have no work that deals with Braille. We don't have no work that facilitates a blind person. So I said, I can't sit and rot. I need to see my ROI. So that's my reason for going back into the classroom, into the University of the West Indies. I never wanted to go back. I said, all right, after master's, that was it. I told my former professors that, and when they heard I was back in the classroom, they only laughed. And I currently, my PhD is disabilities in the workplace and an analysis of the hiring, retaining, and working with persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago. I had to find, and my passion was to find what was the reasons for persons with disabilities not being employed. So that is also my field as well. So my specialty is adaptive devices. My specialty is also in-depth research on issues with persons with disabilities.
I'm curious, because you started off by saying that you're not visually impaired, you are blind. Because I want to know what's the difference, because I thought that when you use the term visually impaired, it was more acceptable as opposed to calling somebody a blind person. So explain that for us.
All right, sure, my pleasure. the term visually impaired and blind, all right, you have to use it in its context. If I say that somebody is visually impaired or low vision, that means they have some sort of light perception that could maybe assist them, even though they still use a cane because the vision is very low, they will need to use a cane. Yet still, they have little light perception. They could see when a light is on in a room. They may be able to see if they're approaching an object, but they may not be able to make it out clearly. Now, blind, when you say blind, it's not an offensive term. It's actually a proper term for labeling someone who has no sort of light perception and is totally blind. So if even you said visually impaired, then it wouldn't accurately, describe me, because then somebody might think, hey, this person, she has, and that is what happened. In one of the articles, they said I was low vision a week ago. And some people on their comments on the internet was a lot of positive comments. However, some of them is saying, hey, she could read the documents while she get it in Parliament, and she could do this and she can do that, because the word that was used, low vision, that's what happened. But however, blind, it's not an offensive word to use. It's just to say is that it's to use for persons who have no light perception.
Senator Lalit, I mean, and of course, again, thank you for joining us this morning. Of course, giving us a little bit of a history anchors in my mind why you would be really suitable as an independent senator in terms of advocating for the disabled and certainly for the blind and visually impaired community in Trinidad and Tobago. Were you surprised at the reaching out of the president's office to indicate that they were looking at you as an independent senator? How did that process go?
I was not surprised. I was shocked. I was overwhelmed. I couldn't believe. All right. I just got a call a few days before the event, and I said, I usually don't answer numbers that is not in my contacts. And something just tell me, Alicia, answer the phone. And I answer it with a bit of, apprehensiveness. And when I answered, I realized I was summoned to the President's house. And I did not know for what. All right. I say, hey, it's a privilege to meet the president. Maybe I could get my 2 cents in and let her know the stress and difficulty and challenges that persons with disabilities are experiencing, because years gone by, former President Max Richards, who has passed away, the late former Max Richards, every time I return from university, I must have a sitting with him and chat with him about disability issues and what is happening and the needs for persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago. So I said, right, finally I got the opportunity. The door have a little crack and I'll go and I'll sit down and I'll chat and I would, represent persons with disabilities. And when I got there, I realized that it was different. Still, I wasn't aware of what was really taking place. I was like in a bubble. And still, I had to wait for further instructions. So it wasn't like, hey, you got this, you're a senator. I still had to wait for further instructions. And the next day I got further instructions, and I even had to correspond with one of the officials who was on the phone because I was in the public. So I couldn't speak or anything. I said, is this a green light? And a coldness went through my body when they said yes. I was frozen in time, and I still trying to, I question myself from time to time. is this really me? Or have I been chosen to carry this mantle? It's a huge responsibility. Am I ready for it, God? Is it me you chose? Because in my mind, I would pray. And that is the reason why I chose that type of topic for my research. And in my heart, I said, one of these good days, some of my findings will reach government and it will help. Maybe not in my time, but it will happen. And even maybe if I'm not around and I have passed away, my findings will find, the seat of parliament whereby they could take some of those findings and implement it in order to start the process or continue the process to at least help persons to, help change the perception and the situation that persons with disabilities have to face on a day-to-day basis. So I was in shock. Also, I was given strict instructions that I cannot disclose this to no one, not even my family. And I wondered why, but I realized after because it was the first, and I'm visually impaired, I think they were concerned of my safety. All right. It was very concerned. So that's the reason, hence the reason why I just had to leave it as is.
Yeah, I mean you painted the picture so well, and it's very inspirational in a sense, in terms of how you painted that picture of the shock and your journey in being appointed as an independent senator, and I am I'm wondering the practicality now that has to be informed in Parliament to accommodate you that I don't know that has ever been done before. Because they will now have to accommodate you, and it's forcing change because you are now an independent senator. Parliament now has to accommodate in terms of Braille, in terms of acts that you would have to now access. Have they had a conversation with you and how all of this is going to work?
Oh, yes. And one thing I forgot is that, some people say, they're taking up responsibility, this, that, the other. But the process, because you was asking me the process, I don't know fully the process of how the president selects people. But I know they do a lot of in-depth research on that person.
Right.
And so they do a lot of background and a lot of research on what they do and stuff like that, and a lot of stuff is out there on the internet, externally, internationally, and also locally. So hence the reason I believe for their leaning on that side, and plus the president saw the need for someone to be their voice. Now the other question, yes, if you look carefully at the swearing-in ceremony, as I said, and I know why I said that in the beginning, that I am adaptive technology consultant. That is one of my hats. Before there was a dry run, I also give some training, immediate training to the staff, which is they are so open arms and so welcoming. Wonderful personality to the staff at Parliament. Hats off to them. They are very accommodating. They are all for inclusiveness. And at present, I am currently engaged in negotiations with them for whatever devices, whatever services I need, whatever accommodations I need. They are actually in the process of assisting me to come up to speed for me functioning in the Senate effectively.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, your story is just kind of mind-boggling. You sit here and you listen in awe, first unit of your personal struggles, and of course, President Christine Kangaloo Garcia, God bless her heart, for reaching out to someone like you, because I understand that they've been lobbying for quite a while to have someone like you sit in the Senate and represent people who would have had these challenges and who will continue to have them, because there are children also with these challenges, not just adults. A lot of people only see the adults, but don't realize that there are also children with some of these challenges.
That is correct. Previously I said that, if not in my time, with my findings from my research, because for many years have been lobbying. Even I don't know if you will remember George Daniel and the struggle and the protest they had on Ryson Road, DPI,
Yeah.
disabled
Yeah.
persons. Right. I was in that. Different disabled groups were also supporting it. Like Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association, PAVI, and other networks. And since then, we have been fighting the fight. Yes, they have been trying very hard, and I believe it's the hand of God worked through Her Excellency so that she saw the need, all right? And many times, only when things hit home, because if you listen to her speech, you would realize that certain situations hit personally at home, that she fully comprehend and fully understood, and with her personality, the needs, it's the urgency and need for someone inside Parliament to represent persons with disabilities. Also, on the side note, Her Excellency, I met her many years ago while they had the Social Development Ministry in Barataria. She may never remember, but I clearly remember shaking her hand, and she was the minister over the social, or the permanent secretary over the Ministry of Social Development. So maybe from since then she had that background, that seeing and having to work with those issues, I believe also helped shape her to coming forward to present what took place.
Yeah, but Senator Lalit, now that you are an independent senator, how do you hope to leverage that position in terms of advocating and advancing the cause of disabled and visually and blind people in Trinidad and Tobago?
Okay. Now, my oath I took was for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. When I start to fully function in the Senate, I know that there are going to be a lot of issues, not just pertaining to persons with disabilities, which is the largest minority group in the world, which is over approximately 1.3 million persons. Some people feel that only a visual disability is a disability. However, you have non-visual and visual. Disabilities is categorized as anyone who has to use something that will help them to perform on a day-to-day basis. A disability is something that affects someone from functioning effectively on a day-to-day basis. So even diabetes, heart, could be categorized as the disability, but a non-visual disability, because they can use medication. If they don't use their medication, they cannot function. So you have two categories, visual and non-visual. So when I fully, get my toes wet and enter it fully, I have to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The issues of Trinidad and Tobago, that is India. I don't know what is India. And specifically, persons with disabilities. I am not going India, and once issues come up for persons with disabilities, because persons with disabilities is blindness, mobility, here deaf, because I'm using the word deaf because they correct me as well that deaf is accepted, that all sorts of disabilities. So I would also be advocating, a strong advocate for once the issues, if it's a paper, if it's a bill, because work has begun. All right. I'm not going to start at ground zero. I was made aware by different leaders in different NGOs that work has already begun. So there is stuff in there. So I don't know what I'm going to meet, but I will be a strong advocate because it will be able to assist all of us. What I have been through and what I tell you maybe in a few minutes is just a nutshell, in a nutshell of the from childhood right up. Because when I had low vision as a child, there was two categories: you're either blind or sighted. And when low vision, you fit in a category where some people don't believe. At school, some teachers at primary school didn't believe I had a vision problem, or you use a glasses, and once the glasses cannot work, some of them believe that I was faking my vision problem. So it was a very challenging experience for me, and I wouldn't like right now. There is a lot of kids having not one disability, but they have multiple disabilities. And reason for that is parents not realizing when doctors tell them, hold up and do not use the drugs or the cigarette until you're finished with your pregnancy and nursing your kids. And what is happening, they don't care. So if you don't care, what are you going to bring forth? All right. And the thing about it is, you bringing a child into the world because of your don't care attitude that are going to face a lot of challenges. All right. So there are kids that are coming up that has multiple disabilities, and people have to be trained on how to help a child that is autistic but blind, or help a child that is blind and also deaf. All right. So that's a new thing that has braced our society. Not just one disability, but one person having multiple disabilities, and that is occurring in the younger generation, very much more frequently in the younger generation, and it's because of the type of lifestyle.
Yeah, but Senator Lalit, you're referencing your childhood and how difficult it was, and how how challenging a space is Trinidad and Tobago for the disabled community, and is it getting better?
Let me add to that question, Richard, because I'm reading the chat, and of course I spent quite a number of years as a local government representative, and I know one of the biggest challenges that blind people have are in fact our sidewalks, because you see blind people traversing the sidewalks, and you cringe sometimes at what they may be experiencing in terms of manhole covers, in terms of pavements that are too high, and on all these and driveways, of course, we have to traverse. How challenging is that, and how do you intend to represent their interests?
The infrastructure of Trinidad and Tobago is extremely challenging, not just for a blind person, but also for people who have to use the wheelchair and maybe certain devices like a support our walking cane and stuff like that. I am very mobile, so I move about Port of Spain. One of the main thing on the agendas that they should be looking at is the population of homelessness in Port of Spain. For blind people, there are homeless people all over. Some of them are violent. And I could remember a day walking up Park Street. I crossed Abercrombie Street and just to meet Pembroke Street. And my cane touched a cardboard. Well, let's say it's the man mattress. Mm-hmm. Right, mattress. And this man, I believe maybe he was possessed with demons, and he was coming at me, and two people had to run. One pick up a bottle in the drain, and he ran off. And while he ran off, she's not blind. And sometimes these people are off on drugs. It's not to say a mental breakdown or something like that. And you have all different categories. One, the corporation needs to seriously look into the condition of the pavements. Some pavements are falling in and they have holes in the pavement, which many times I have encountered even fell to the ground. even twist my feet. And thank God I got a little swollen ankle and back on track. And this happens to many persons who have different disabilities, especially people who are blind. So we have to go about our daily task. Many people will tell us, what you doing on the pavement? Somebody should be with you, but you have to live. You have to be independent. You have to survive. Not every time you have that someone will take you from point A to point B. That is the reality of life. Some people will get tired and fed up, even if you're paying them. All right. Some people are not around when you need to get something urgently done. And the pavements need to be a serious priority for, especially in the capital, because Trinidad and Tobago, they always will refer to it as Little Trinidad, as Little America. It is the leader in the Caribbean, in CARICOM. We are the capital of CARICOM, all right? And for the condition of Port of Spain, I think it's in a dilapidated condition, one, and also for the accessibility. So it needs some really cleaning up and redoing, and especially the pavements. Some people, when they did the blended curve for people with disabilities, they did not get proper guidance. And it is so steep that it's dangerous, because the person could accidentally wheel out into, because the steepness of it, some of the steepness of it, they cannot use it. Also, the way how they did the blended curve, some of them is when you come to the end of the blended curve, you actually in traffic. So I believe, yes, it was a good venture, but the persons, the tail end people who are like the line managers, who had to give instructions of how to, the height of the blended curve and stuff like that. I don't think that they were instructed properly. The best had was to maybe dig a slope, cement it, and that's it. But if you watch the blended curves in Manhattan, and when you travel for accessibility, it's different. Also, I don't know if you pay attention while you are at Duke Street and Frederick Street, right down to Woodford Square. And on the right side, you have some very expensive tiles that is raised, that they use in the train stations, by the train tracks, so people will know who are blind. This is where you stop and stuff like that. And it was not properly put in. All right. Again, lack of, proper guidance and instruction. Yes, it's a good venture, and it helps people key them to, certain things, but I think it was just placed in different locations, and it was not placed in the right locations that it's supposed to. So when you don't get correct information, or you don't see correct information, and you just give instructions and do things, sometimes sometimes the effort is really commendable, but sometimes certain things defeat the purpose that you have, because it wasn't implemented properly. So yes, I will say Port of Spain is in a very bad mess, especially with the pavements. Even in front of Royal Scotia Bank and First Citizen Bank, there is a hole. That's last week. All right, I encountered it. Things like that. So these things, especially the main streets of Port of Spain. All right, I'm speaking about Frederick Street, Abercrombie Street, St. Vincent Street. What I have to do, what I do a lot, if I'm coming up, I try to avoid Abercrombie Street. I come up more St. Vincent Street, because the pavement by the Red House, the pavement at the library, it's more comfortable and accessible.
It always seems as if our pavements are too high. I don't know why. What is the thinking of why pavements are so high, and I've raised that with Wendell before.
Yeah,
Why they
they're
have
not
pavements so
standardized.
high, especially considering the disabled citizens. But everywhere you go in Trinidad and Tobago and they build pavements, they build them at a very high height, and I am just never understand why.
Yeah.
I think maybe they are thinking about flooding, but you can't control water because water takes anything, vehicle, it climbs the pavement, anything. And I think if you watch some of the pavements that were not renovated, and that was since way back when, maybe even before my time. Let's think about the square by La Perouse Cemetery and those pavements there. Some of them are not high. Some of them, if you watch it, you'll see it's not very high to step up on. But the pavements that were renovated in recent times, they have it at you have a high step up.
Yeah.
So
Is there a standardized? Is there a standard? I don't know if you know this, but would there be a standardized height for pavements internationally that kind of infrastructure that maybe the state of Trinidad and Tobago needs to now be mindful of in terms of its disabled citizens?
Well, you can't quote me 100%, but I believe so because everything has codes, international coding. Even the elevators that you use now, you think it's because Trinidad will bring in elevators that have a voice talking. No, it's because the elevator industry that became a code that it was mandatory for the elevators in order to be accepted, all right, and approved that they must put in that audio system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I believe that there are codes, just as how you have building codes. I believe you have also codes for different infrastructure internationally. I know Trinidad have a long way to go. You asked a question. One of you asked a question earlier on, about terms of where Trinidad have been and where it's at now. I have seen improvement. Even though I spoke about the blended curve and the expensive tiles that was not placed in correctly, all right, they are there. All right. And, certain things are there, but we still far off. We still have a lot of work to do. We are a developing country, and we have to remember in order for us to reach first world status, it all reflects on how you treat all your citizens.
Yeah.
Well said.
Right?
Absolutely.
Even in first world countries, they have issues as well. Even those who have laws and different legislations to protect persons with disabilities from discrimination, you still have problems. You still have accessibility problems in certain areas. But however, generally you have seen major improvement, and I would love to see Trinidad, and this is a turning point. This has broke barriers. This is, major. And I have been waiting on this for many, many years. I never thought that all eyes and the finger was pointing on to select me. All right.
Yeah.
However, Jamaica has a blind senator, and that is Senator Floyd Morris for a very long time. And he has excelled a lot. He is a professor at the Mona campus, and he is doing well. Also, St. Lucia and other places, they have also have in place legislation. And since the Patient-Hill Treaty, we have a treaty 2013 when CARICOM met in Haiti, and they have this treaty regarding persons with disabilities and their issues and what affects them. And from time to time, what I have discovered while in my research with all the conventions, like the Convention for Persons with Disabilities, International UN Convention, and the Patient Hill Treaty and stuff like that, these treaties cannot be implemented unless domestic law is there to enforce it. And when I saw that, I say, my goodness. So that's one of the problems we are having, because domestic law would be able to complement the international treaties that will assist us in making things much developing and making things different, accessible, more accessible, full inclusion for persons with disabilities in the workplace and in the society on a whole. So what the major connection there is legislation, law enacted that will help enforce these treaties and conventions.
Yeah, I mean, and all of that is, I mean, proves why you are really a good choice in terms of the senatorship that would have been selected by the president and giving you that independent senator post. Would you be willing to take some calls, Senator Lalit?
Yeah, sure.
So we don't have our lines at this point.
Just remember, I took an oath to serve the people. So if they want to ask me a question, I may not be able to answer, but I not a problem.
Yeah, in other words, keep the politics out of it.
Yeah, keep the politics out of it.
Keep the politics out of it. So we can take a couple of calls as we head towards 8 a.m. So 281-1315, 281-1315. We take a couple of calls. We are speaking to the Honourable Senator Alicia Lalite.
I want to tell you something, Senator Lalit. If you didn't get appointed before, you certainly would have gotten appointed after this interview. Trust me. I'm sure.
Compliment, but I'm telling you, it's a huge responsibility, because people, the general public, my entire society is looking on. Parliament is looking on. Her Excellency, who have appointed me, is looking on. She has said, all right, let me give this individual the opportunity. Let's see. So everyone is looking on, and the entire group, minority group of persons with disabilities is looking on. And I don't have a choice. I have to make it a success.
Well, you're getting a lot of kudos on the chat. A lot of people are high in praise of your articulation and certainly of your representation of blind people and people with disabilities. You're getting a lot of praises on the chat.
Any calls, Sir Charles?
So far, no, we don't. But as they come through, I will let you know.
But I can ask a question that Beauty Culture asks. What arrangements need to be done immediately for blind students in our mainstream schools?
Well, I'm not sure what ministry, the Ministry of Education, the special education. I'm not sure of what they are doing, because I'm at the tertiary level. I am up at the University of the West Indies, so I am on my own path. I have to make a path. If I have to step on toes to get things done, I will get it done, and I had to fight for my rights. But generally, I am not sure of what they have in place, what they have on the agenda for this academic year coming up. But I know that one of the major things needs to be done is sensitization. Also, access for persons or students with disabilities, because we have to look at our students. That's our future. All right. And you cannot teach somebody you cannot give somebody a fish all the time. I don't believe in sitting down and giving somebody a fish. Feed them a fish, feed them a fish. Teach them how to fish. We have to be able, as citizens, to contribute to Trinidad and Tobago. All right? Sorry for my intervention of my clock. All right? So what happened, if you hear it in the background. So what happened is that you need adaptive devices accessible for students, because of the adaptive devices are extremely costly, and in US dollars is extremely expensive. For example, just to renew my license for my screen reader it's now the price from $290 is now $400 US. Some students with low as being from a low income family, and I know how that is, all right, needs to have access to these devices, even the hearing impaired. The hearing aids are very expensive. And the reason why adaptive devices generally, and I'm giving you a little tip, people might want to know why adaptive devices are so costly around the world. The reason for this is because the minority group is what has to access and has to use it. The price, if you watch it, the price of computers, the price of Windows, the price of the Office suite of program is not that costly. The reason for that is because is a larger amount of persons utilizing this. And with adaptive devices, a lot goes into research. So that's why the cost of it, and for the exchange, like from 7-1 or 7 something to 1, it's very challenging. When I have my time coming up for the renewal every 2 years of my license, I have to budget and prepare for that in advance. And then also the problem is accessibility of the US for persons who have to purchase devices externally, internationally. So that would all be, where I find people supposed to, they need to give some leniency. Hey, you need the devices. One thing I can say is that Scotiabank, I just only have to go and let them know my cane has been broken. I need my software updates and stuff like that. And I am not turned out. I don't know for the other branches. I don't know for the other banks. All right. But you have to prove why you need the US, the currency. Like last year, October, I had to travel to go and receive an award from my former university in New York, and I went and I told them so, and I was able to get the US, and I needed the US. So these things need to be addressed. The Ministry of Education needs to have where students will be able to, I don't know, I believe that they will be embarking on projects where to make devices much more accessible and affordable for persons with disabilities. And
Senator Lalit, Senator Lalit, that's why we're going to have to end it this morning. But thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it has been a very informative conversation with you. And I think a lot of our listeners and viewers, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but of the Caribbean, will have a better sense of what the challenges are that are faced by disabled persons throughout the Caribbean, but specifically in Trinidad and Tobago, but also why you are such an excellent choice for an independent senator. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes, we look forward to your contributions in the Senate.
All right, thank you so much. And one correction, you can use persons with disabilities.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Instead of disabled persons, you could use persons with disabilities. My pleasure for you hosting me. I'm sorry that we had some technical problems, that I was not being allowed into the studio, but I don't know. There is technical issues. But thank you very much for allowing me to get the word out there and to sensitize whoever is listening.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That was, of course, the Honourable Senator Alicia Lalite. She's an independent senator, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking forward to her contributions in the Parliament from now on. But we have to go to the 8 o'clock news. We're just a little behind time, and then when we come back, we'll get to close off with the one grumpy man and two.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. Opposition leader Penelope Beckles is calling for greater transparency and public consultation on the government's proposed Stand Your Ground legislation. Speaking at a media conference yesterday, Beckles raised concerns about the lack of clarity surrounding the policy, questioning whether the government intends to model it after controversial laws like those in Florida. She warned that without a full understanding of how the law would apply, particularly in public spaces, the policy could do more harm than good in Trinidad and Tobago's unique crime landscape. You can develop a whole culture where people believe you're in the wild, wild west, so everybody should have a gun, she said. Beckles emphasized that the opposition is willing to support good legislation, but insists that consultation is absolutely critical before moving forward. Shell Trinidad and Tobago Limited has announced a final investment decision to begin development of the Aphrodite gas field in the East Coast Marine area, with production expected to start in 2027. The project is set to strengthen Shell's gas operations in one of Trinidad and Tobago's most prolific gas-producing zones, home to major fields like Dolphin and Starfish. According to Shell, the new field will help backfill gas to the Atlantic LNG plant in Point Fortin, supporting both domestic energy needs and export markets. Peak production is expected to reach 107 million cubic feet of gas per day, equivalent to about 18,400 barrels of oil per day. Country Chair Adam Lomas said the project highlights Shell's commitment to Trinidad and Tobago's energy future. The announcement comes just days after BPTT reported first gas from its Mento project, signaling renewed momentum in the country's upstream energy sector. All three of the Water and Sewerage Authority's reservoirs in Trinidad have crossed their expected long-term average. In an update yesterday, WASA noted the steady increase in Trinidad's reservoirs, together with a decrease in Tobago's Hillsborough Reservoir. The Navette Reservoir currently stands at 65.95% capacity, up from 62.22% on May 27th, well above its long-term average of 46.54%. The Arena Reservoir stands at 60.50% capacity, above its LTA of 54%, while the Hollis Reservoir is at 54.99%, exceeding its LTA of 43.85%. However, Tobago's Hillsborough Reservoir has dipped slightly to 58.5% from last week's 64%. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has been named the winner of the Caribbean Global Awards People's Choice 2025. The announcement came via a Facebook post yesterday from the London-based Caribbean Global Institutes, which hosts the annual awards recognizing outstanding Caribbean leaders and innovators. Managing Director Michaeline Gale Holder-March confirmed that Persad-Bissessar topped a field of 58 nominees, receiving 3,850 votes from around the world. The integrity of the vote was overseen by a 15-member independent panel of judges and observers. Rounding out the top five were Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent, Mia Motley of Barbados, Andrew Holness of Jamaica, and Irfan Ali of Guyana. The official award ceremony is set for September 27th at the Cumberland Hotel in London. In international news, there is growing international outcry following a deadly incident near an aid distribution point in Gaza on Tuesday morning, where dozens of civilians were reportedly killed or wounded. According to Gaza health officials, 24 people were killed and at least 37 wounded after Israeli forces allegedly opened fire on civilians gathered for aid in western Rafah. Eyewitnesses say gunfire came from helicopters, tanks, and sniper positions targeting people who had gathered overnight to secure aid from a newly established distribution site backed by the US and Israel. However, the Israel Defense Forces denied firing on the crowd, saying warning shots were aimed half a kilometer away from the aid site at individuals who posed a perceived threat. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has taken over aid distribution from the UN, also denied responsibility, claiming its site operated safely and without incident. The UN is now calling for an independent investigation into the killings. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newera@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box. San Fernando, we're here. The wait is over. The indisputable #1 comedy of 2025, Married and Mischievous, is in San Fernando for one night only at Sapper. Sunday, June 8th at 6:30 p.m. One show only. Tickets available at K Squared Fashion, C3 Center in Brentwood Mall, Fens by the Roundabout in Marabella, and at the Sapper box office 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily from Monday, 2nd of June. Married and Mischievous, one night only at Sapper, Sunday, June 8th. Strictly adults only. Don't miss it. All right, so we are back, and of course, we are heading towards 8:15, which is our sign-off time on the breakfast show. We just had a conversation with Independent Senator Alicia Lalite. So you got an introduction to her if you didn't know who she was before.
Now you know.
You got a solid introduction to who she is. So you have a better reference point for that new independent senator sitting on the bench in the Senate.
Richard, can I tell one of our texters something? Someone who goes by the name of Just a Nice Guy. His last comment was, keep up the greatest breakfast show in the Caribbean, New Era TT Radio. I want to tell Just a Nice Guy, if you keep up with these comments, you will be known as just a great guy. Not just a nice guy. You'll be known as just a great guy. We're going to rechristen you just a great guy. All right?
Yeah, you should have put it up on the screen, man.
Oh God, I don't learn. I don't fiddle around with these things now that I get a boss status now.
Yes,
I don't fiddle around with these things one of these days.
Yeah. Just before we go, I just want to let you guys know, and people who are listening, that coming up inside of the Drive Time with Tony Fraser a little later on, our Drive Time exchange, as the Vibes Cartel no-show controversy continues to simmer, and now with police investigation, they are going to hear from promoters representative Paige De Leon, Randy Glasgow, Calypsonian Ras Commander, and Hamidullah. So all that is inside of the afternoon Drive Time exchange with Tony Fraser from 4 to 6 p.m. today.
So I did it, but somebody else did it too. Which one are you on? I put up just a great guy.
Bobby Rich, yeah.
Well, now that I know I could post on this chat, or you're in trouble. Or you're in real trouble.
The more flexibility you get, the more you just want to do it.
I'm a boss, Oli. I'm a boss.
Yeah.
The thing, I'm working already for me. Watch it behind me. Anyway, folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. I'm here in a shower of rain again in Arima. What is this?
Only by you. Only by you.
Yeah. Be careful out there, folks. Have an absolutely wonderful day. And guess what? We are going to be bringing you some of the best programming you will ever experience on this breakfast show. Trust me.
Yeah. So have a fantastic day. And of course, and this has been the breakfast show, also known as
breakfast show.
I'm coming back for you with that. I'm going to bring them two old men from the Muppet, and I'm going to put Charles and Richard next to them.
So have a fantastic day, whatever you do. And remember to smile and laugh. It is great for your health. Of course, don't go anywhere. You can keep on the stream, newerattradio.com. And on TuneIn, programming continues, even though we sign off here on the breakfast show on this Wednesday morning, and on M&E TV.
Yeah, and don't forget, people, you remember to go and check out the YouTube channel. We need to get 100,000.
Yep.
And also, we have a TikTok channel for the breakfast show also. And if we get past a certain amount, we'll be able to stream live there too. So they can just go and follow the breakfast show on TikTok.
Spread the word. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to
100 more.
I'm going to go into my contact list and send everybody the latest little clips we have from the breakfast show. So you'll get accustomed to it. Because let me tell you something. My stream falling up now with PNM internal elections. Everybody's sending thing for me now. Oh gosh.
All right, so this is where we end because it's 8:15 on the dot and we are professional. Have a great one. See you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Yeah.